Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another Living World of Darkness, Changeling the Dreaming. No, not Changeling. Rage Across New York. I have to remember which game I'm in. Damn it. Rage Across New York. This scene is set on the Sept of the Green. Out near the Cub Cabins. There's a couple soft balls of light just floating around as Alonna finishes her early evening chiminages to the semi-nocturnal animals of the Sept, making sure that everybody is happy and fed and the spirits are happy and thus talons can be made. So that is where this scene will start. One, if you care, one ball is blue and one ball is purple. No, one is green and purple. One green, one purple. Yes.
So Will have finished his day's training as usual, and he's probably just kind of like hanging around, loitering around. So the Cubs are up to stuff. He's just been kind of a rare moment on his own, and he will see Alana, and she will see him kind of like looking at her and kind of like, and you'll see that he begins to walk over, and he will kind of hang around quite close to you until you've done whatever you've done. Like he doesn't interrupt you if you're paying image.
Once she finishes, she turns towards him and gives him her attention. What can I do for you?
Will he will bare his neck in the way he has been taught and say, Alana, how does the evening find you?
Well, so far so good. It's getting a bit chilly out here for Hamid, but and she kind of puts her hands together and blows in them to warm him up some.
Will is probably actually like wearing a jumper or something or a coat, and he'll be like, "Yeah, it's getting pretty cold. Can I talk to you quickly?
Certainly.
Okay? We could talk here or inside or something. If you're cold.
Doesn't much matter. Inside's fine if you want.
Yeah, we'll shrug and invite you into one of the cabins.
She'll follow you.
So once in, Will has he has both his eyes back now. One of them is maybe looking a little like still a little bruised and stuff around, but yeah, it looks more or less healed. And yeah, he doesn't seem to have suffered any permanent consequences of his beating by Stoneclaw either, or Decimate rather.
You should kind of give him a once over. The look is almost like one more of a doctor would give, looking at somebody than just a normal person. It's almost like she's got a more practiced eye when it comes to that.
Yeah, he seems okay. Like mechanically wise, he's currently on like full health.
So what can I do for you?
Den Father has been really excellent in his teachings, his Den Mother has as well. But I just wanted to ask you about something that's not really been brought up too much in our teachings.
Well, what's up?
When we were playing rugby, you and Talate kind of had a bit of an argument, and I wasn't really sure what it was about. I was just wondering if you could, if it's a touchy subject, I understand if you don't want to, but why? And like, I don't want to make the same. I don't want to like offend anybody without knowing.
Right. And she takes a seat. Obviously, she thinks this is going to take a little bit. She leans forward on her knees. Well, Talata comes from the Wendigo tribe, one of the pure tribes, as it were. And ages ago, when the white settlers came to America, people of several of the tribes especially came with them. Fianna, Get Fenris, Shadow Striders. Or was it the Silent Striders? Shadow Lords, Silent Striders. One of the two. I'm not big on that. I'm not keen on, or not well versed on which one of their history. I just know my own. When we came over, like they'd been doing all throughout Europe, you kept a cairn by force, by strength and numbers, strength of skill of your warriors. And so when we came here, many tribes did the same thing, attacking the people that were here, oftentimes killing many of them, driving them out, much like the American settlers did. It's not a pretty time in history for humans or our kind. It's kind of sad, honestly. We're all supposed to be fighting for Gaia, but there's so many old, bitter hatreds that still run deep in so many people. So anyways, the
Will
Fianna,
is Will is quite like kind of nods fervently in agreement with that sentiment.
the Fianna weren't quite as murderous. We were more loose with our words, you might say. So there's been bred a lack of trust. One that obviously many Wendigo still share if they're still breeding it into their young'uns. And I can't help but wonder what it would take to make amends. Unfortunately, I can't heal hundreds of years of fighting with my own actions. And I don't know that, with the way, especially with the way Talate is, I sometimes wonder if they even want to make things right, make things better for everybody.
All kind of nods. But why did they fight in the first place?
Because that's how the tribes have always kept their cairns. You kept it by force, by strength. If you couldn't do that, you weren't meant to keep it. Only the strongest of minds are supposed to be in charge of taking care of them. At least that's what the old stories say. I've come to understand that there's different kinds of strengths. There's the strength of physical prowess, like the Arunan body. There's strength of tongue, like the Ragabash. There's the strength of story and entertainment and history, not the Galliards. There's a strength of soul, of the Theurges, that connection to the spirit. Everybody has their own strengths, and unfortunately, for a very long time, many tribes were focused on the physical strength.
I was taught by Denfather that if you have an argument, the person who's right is decided by whoever makes the other submit by any means possible.
Aye. That's definitely how it works. So unless you know you're right and you can prove it, you learn to pick your battles, who to pick them with. Be careful who you challenge, because many will take it out on you physically. Some will run you
If
in
I have an
circles
argument,
mentally.
so if I have an argument with someone and then we can't agree and it comes to blows and they beat me up and make me submit, then they were right in the argument.
Aye.
But what if they're just not right? What if they're arguing the sky's green? Or, yeah.
Well then, if you stop before you get to the point where it comes to fisticuffs, and talk to somebody above them, somebody they respect, and word gets back from that person to them that the sky is indeed not green, they're gonna either have to challenge them and be put into their place, or accept the fact that the sky's not green.
Do you think at all that the reason the pure tribes don't particularly feel like reparations have been made is that the attitude that led to them being attacked and killed still exists?
I've not seen one person on this set attack and kill anybody of a pure tribe. In fact, there's several members of pure tribes who are in high-ranking positions on this set. They're people of respect.
That's not really what I mean. I don't want to talk out of turn, but if we have the attitude of if you can't take it and you're weak, you lose, and that you should just kind of suck that up, and that if you have an argument, it can be decided by strength of arms, doesn't that basically just condemn the pure tribes to you lost, get over it? And like, if that's the culture that we have, then what would happen if we find a new Garu tribe in, I don't know, somewhere, I don't know, potentially, hypothetically? Wouldn't the same thing just happen?
I'd hope that we've learned something since then, but in theory, aye. Think about it this way. You're into sports and such, aren't you?
Sure.
How often does somebody lose at a sport and they just can't accept the fact that they lost and they're a bit salty over it, filled with jealousy and rage?
All the time, but it's not the same.
Isn't it?
You usually haven't lost anything when your team loses in a sport. People get
You've
passionate
lost
about this sort of
pride.
thing. Yeah, no. You're right. But a sport is a sport. It's not how society is run.
Isn't it?
I don't think so.
When somebody doesn't get a job that they've been working hard for, when somebody who gets it and they don't feel that that person even deserved to be in an option, don't you think they get a bit salty and resentful and stew on it? People have a
Whereby,
lot of expectations that they feel certain things should be given to them at certain times because they've done what they think is necessary. You can't decide when you're going to live, when you're going to die, and how any of that's going to happen. All you can do is try and be the best you can between the 2 points. And a lot of times that means that people are going to step on you because they don't care. It also means that there's going to be times when you're not taking that step to get ahead because there's others that you care about that need that hand up. It's a very tough balancing act between the two.
Will sort of looks like he's not very satisfied with that answer. Sure.
I suppose I have a different perspective since I was raised in the nation.
It just seems that like we're supposed to be here to be doing something, and instead we're fighting our own personal battles.
Aye. People get distracted from what they're supposed to do all the time. Sometimes it's their only way of keeping their sanity. Especially with some of the horrors out there that you'll come across.
Will again looks dubious. I just think I don't know. Sorry, this is all new to me, and I'm learning my way still. I'll learn to understand it once I know more and I become more wise. I don't have any dice to roll, but that if you have any level of perception empathy, that seems slightly like
I have
he's saying
7
that because
dice for it.
yeah,
So.
okay, you don't even have to roll. He definitely seems like he's saying that because he thinks that's what you want to hear, and he doesn't believe it really. Like he doesn't believe that he will get wiser and understand it. He probably doesn't think that he's gonna. Yeah. Anyway, you basically get the idea that that was a slightly disingenuous comment.
She narrows her eyes slightly. It's hard, I understand that. And maybe one day you will be wiser. And maybe you can help bring about change. But you have to learn to work within it if you want to make it better for yourself and for others. Who knows? Maybe you'll become a legend and help bring peace to the tribes and unite us against the worm and prevent an apocalypse and the world to be all hunky-dory.
Will's face at that is like he thinks you're slightly mocking him, and also look like that idea is hilariously unlikely.
I know, I wouldn't mind being a legend. Bringing peace to the clowns. That would be pretty grand. Hope somebody can do it one day. Don't think it's been done. God. Longer than I can remember ever hearing about. You'd have to ask a Galliard. I don't know all that much of the history. I know a little bit, but I'm not entirely sure that that's ever happened. Oh, what a glorious sight that would be. All the tribes of the Garo coming together, returning the worm to its place, ridding it of its corruption. Oh, for Gaia, that would be grand. And she seems to be daydreaming.
So why just don't we?
Why don't we get over ourselves and let go of the past? Come together. Because a lot of people, when you tell them, I understand something really bad happened to your people, and the people I come from 100, 200, 400 years ago did X, Y, and Z to your people. And I understand that they did that, but I'm not them, and you're not them, and we should all get over it. Doesn't tend to go over well with those who've been on the shit end of the stick, as it were. They tend to hold on to their past because they're afraid of not having a future.
Do you think at all that one of the reasons they might not want to reconcile is that they don't think that the people that did it to them have really changed?
I can't tell you what the peer tribes think. That I'm still trying to figure out myself. I talked to Katori, Raya, and Ellie. But Wendigo, they're people. It's like an entire tribe of a room. They're like little whirling dervishes of furry fury. Especially when you bring up to get a Fenris or Fiona.
He looks like he is pondering what's been said.
I'm almost surprised Talate hasn't gone crazy and attacked people yet. At least she hasn't that I've heard. Well, can she be disrespectful? But I've not heard of her actually talking to somebody. Hope she doesn't. No, I take that back. She lit Eric Raya on was Asha's beard on fire. That was definitely an attack. But she wasn't frenzied, so I don't know that would go on to what else referring to. She wasn't frenzied on anybody that I'm aware of. But you can see that rage is boiling in her. Especially when I'm around. And even more so now that Decimates is get a Fenris. She almost has that look of being betrayed in her eyes.
Will is keeping stum on the matter of decimates.
Disciplines what?
Will is sorry, doesn't make any comment when decimates is brought up at all. And he looks slightly uncomfortable. Well, not uncomfortable, but just kind of like maybe, yeah.
I know you don't get along with decimates. You had a bit of a confrontation.
I was wrong, and I accept that. I shouldn't have done it, and I won't do it again. Decimates Raya is my superior, and I should, which she deserves. This doesn't seem particularly disingenuous, actually. Although he avoided your question.
Yeah, she's not going to push it. Is there anything else you wanted to know? More specific questions that I can answer?
No, thank you, Raya.
Of course, pup.
And yeah, we'll at this point, if you want to talk to me about anything, you know to find me. And I better get back. They've got some chores to do.
All right.
Yeah, he will begin to leave. Or he'll leave.
Alonna will head out. Her two orbs floating outside the doors. Following her, she trails off into the darkness to go off and feed the raven spirits. And with that, this scene will end. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for viewing. Good night.